And thanks for being with us. I'm Heather Abraham. Our first guest this morning shocked all of Pittsburgh and beyond when he dropped a bombshell on his KDKA radio program. Longtime talk show host Mike Pintek announced live on his show this summer that he had a diagnosis no one wants to hear for themselves or a loved one. Mike's doctor told him that he has pancreatic cancer.
In early May, I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I thought it was going to be operable at first, but it is not operable.
Mike says he wanted to go public because people were beginning to notice signs that something was wrong, and now he's here with us this morning to do what he does best. He wants to talk. He wants to share his story to try and help someone else and to figure out what the warning signs are. We are honored to have Mike in the studio this morning along with Andrea Bauer-Kuczma of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. Thank you both. Mike, so good to see you. So wonderful
good to
see you.
Last time I saw you was outside PNC Park.
A
you
while
came
ago.
on my show because
Right.
we were doing a live remote. Yeah.
So it's just amazing, incredible that you reached out to your fans in this way to tell them the news. But what was it for yourself to get that news from the doctor?
Well, it's devastating. I knew there was something wrong, and I wanted to find out what it was. And I had this, deep gut feeling that it was something serious. But I never dreamed that it was pancreatic cancer. And my first reaction was, of all the cancers I can get, why this one?
Right.
But it is what it is. I mean, a lot of people get this. It's unfortunate, and it seems like the numbers are growing.
And why is this one so devastating?
Well, in part because it's hard to detect, from what they tell me. So it gets to more advanced stages before somebody actually realizes that they have it. And in my case, the tumor itself in my pancreas was, like, quote unquote, relatively small, but unfortunately it had spread. The original plan was to operate and do a special operation that would have taken the pancreas out completely. But unfortunately, we learned within a day of the diagnosis that it had spread to my liver.
Wow. And
possibly elsewhere. So now they can't operate.
So what brought you to the doctor in the first place?
Okay, well, I had a lot of pain in my abdominal area. I actually was on vacation on a cruise, and I know you think, well, the cruise, you're stuffing yourself.
Right.
I don't do that. I like good food, I like good drinks,
Yeah.
I like to relax, but I don't stuff myself, which is why I thought something's wrong, because I don't stuff myself, and yet I'm feeling really bloated, a pain in my stomach, my
Right.
abdomen. So it got back, and the pain just kept getting worse. And so I went to my doctor, and we started a series of tests. And I can't even remember how many tests I had.
Wow.
They went one thing after, blood tests. They did x-rays. They did radiology. They did nuclear medicine. They're looking for all kinds of stuff. Finally, they do a CT scan with contrast. And I'll never forget the day, because the technician who did the test said, okay, now if you don't hear from, this was a Friday, she said, if you don't hear from your doctor, then you call her on Monday. And I'm like, well, she'll call me. She's very good about it. No, but if you don't hear from her, you call her on Monday. And I thought, oh, this is not going to be good.
No. Yeah.
And that very day, my doctor called and said, we need to see you. And that's when they told me that I had pancreatic cancer.
Oh my goodness. I know that's extremely difficult if you ever go to the doctor, and the technicians who are doing the test can never tell you anything.
Right, but you could also tell, when she says, well, you be sure to talk to the doctor, and like, this is not good.
Yeah.
And so then I went to UPMC, and I feel so blessed that we have UPMC's Hillman Cancer Center. Saw a surgeon, then we determined that it's not operable, and I'm being treated by Dr. Bahari, top oncologist in the world for this kind of thing, and I'm being treated by them and the wonderful nurses at Hillman. They just uplift your spirits.
So making the announcement on KDKA radio, what was that like? What was it like afterwards?
Well, I mean, in that little clip you just played, you saw I had hair there. I mean,
Right.
Look at me now. I've got the Dr. Evil look going on
You look
here.
great.
So, you look great. Yeah, I wish I had hair. But you know what? This is what it is. It is, as they say, what it is. And you deal with that, and you go forward. And I have tons of respect for people who go through this, because now I know what they're going through.
Yeah.
But I also have a lot of support from people who love me, my family, my sister, my girlfriend takes care of me. I don't know what I'd do without her. And then I have this large family, this radio family.
Right.
that has been just unbelievably supportive. So all of that makes you feel better psychologically and emotionally. So it's so important.
How is treatment going for you?
Well, I get the treatment once a week, every 3 weeks, or maybe for 3 weeks, and then I'm 1 week off. So I just came off my 1 week off, and I'm I'm feeling pretty good now. So, but I'll get a treatment again this week, and so we'll see what happens next.
And one of the great things that we have in Pittsburgh is drug trials. And are you taking part in one of them, I hear?
Yes, I was included at UPMC. This is a drug trial that's been going on for a while, and they said that this shows very positive promise.
Good.
And I've recently had, over the past few weeks, scans, various scans, and the news is that the tumors are shrinking, so the drug is actually working. And I just keep my fingers crossed and keep praying and hope that things continue in a positive direction.
I hope so too, Mike. And
Thanks.
Andrea, I don't mean to ignore you over there. There is something very important coming up, and this is not only raising awareness, but also helping in the fight against pancreatic cancer.
It is. So Purple Stride Pittsburgh, which is presented by HM Insurance, it's the Walk to End Pancreatic Cancer, is happening here in Pittsburgh on Saturday, September 9th at the North Shore Riverfront Park on the Great Lawn right beside Heinz Field. And it's an opportunity for people to come out, and really it's the Walking to End Pancreatic Cancer for those affected. It's a family-friendly event. There's a 5K timed run and also a 1-mile family walk. There's refreshments, a children's play zone. So it's a great day to raise awareness and critical funds for this disease for patients like Mike that are going through it, so we can fund research, clinical trials. It's so necessary.
What do people need to know out there about this? Can we call it a disease? And what do people need to know about this?
They need to know that it's right now the third leading cause of cancer death. Approximately 53,000 people are diagnosed each year. The 5-year survival rate is just 9%, but it's just a statistic. There are people surviving this disease, and if you are diagnosed, you need to be your own advocate. Go and see the doctors, ask for clinical trials, contact the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. There is free services for patients through our Patient Central program. They do research, they do advocacy. There are a lot of opportunities out there to help you in your battle with this.
So is it that case because there are no symptoms right out, that like you were having some abdominal pain and at that point it had already spread? So is that the case? Is that what happened?
Yes, there's really not any early diagnosis tools or tests that'll diagnose it early, and a lot of the symptoms are GI symptoms, back pain, things that can be associated with a lot of other illnesses. So people don't always know that that's what it is. So really being your own advocate, and when you know something is wrong, just like Mike said, going to see your doctor and finding out what it is. And that, unfortunately, by the time people are diagnosed, it usually has spread. But that's one of the things we're working on with funding research, is to find early diagnosis so we can improve survival rates. The survival rate has increased 1% every year the last 3 years at 9%. So that's approximately 1,500 people that are sons, daughters, wives that have been saved from research dollars.
Okay, great. And are you expecting this year's walk to be even bigger and run?
We hope so. We have a goal of 245,000, and as of this morning, we're at 160,000. So we're coming in close. So we hope so. It's a good opportunity for everybody to come out and raise awareness and funds.
Is that that's not just here in Pittsburgh?
That's just here in Pittsburgh.
That's just here in Pittsburgh.
Just Pittsburgh. Yeah, we've raised over $1 million since we started just here in Pittsburgh with Purple Stride.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, thank you both, Mike. I'm so glad that things are going okay, and you're staying positive.
Good to see you.
Okay, good to see you too, Mike. Thank you, Andrea. And you can come out and support the fight against pancreatic cancer at the upcoming Purple Stride Walk on Saturday, September 9th. The walk starts on the North Shore on the Great Lawn along the Riverfront Park by Heinz Field. You can get more details on the walk and other ways that you can support making strides toward a cure. That's at kdka.com/PTL.